Hey guys, your buddy Don here again. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. It's nice to see you. Nice to talk to you in the comments. Glad you could make it. Appreciate your patronage. Thank you very much. Elmer says hello. Um, Today's going to be a little bit different than some other stuff that I've done. I watch a lot of YouTube, okay? And a lot of stuff comes across my screen. And a lot of stuff I watch. And I came across these guys, and it's just shocking to me that they live through the job they have. I don't know how they do it, to be honest with you. Well, best thing to do is, I'm gonna go ahead and start the video and comment on it as it goes through. And I'm having to do this soundtrack on the phone, visual on the computer. So I got to sync it up at the end. It'll work out. Anyhow, let's get into this and see what these boys are up to. Now, I don't know. The sound is going to start. Here's the sound. I don't know. First of all, let's talk about this. Let me stop this for a second. Let's look and see what we got going on here, okay? We have a guy at the top who's got his truck backed up, and he's swinging the hammer at the latch to get the latches to open so that he can dump the rocks out into the chute and then down into the rock crusher. Now, if you look at this building on the left, you're going to notice, well, first of all, I got to say this. This machine, in order to keep the rocks moving, the machine has a vibrator. And the vibrator is controlled by this guy over here. The vibrator is controlled by this guy here. That's what he's got, this wire going behind him, with his hand behind his back. He's got the control box in his hand. But if you look at this building, the bricks at the bottom are all just exposed, and all the mortar's gone from between the bricks. Now, to me, what that means is that the vibrating machine is too close to the building and has shaken all the mortar out. And I guess they're just going to wait for the building to fall down. They haven't fixed it. So I guess they're just going to wait for it to fall down. Now, I want you to notice also, the truck is backed up to the top of the chute. There doesn't appear to be anything to stop the truck from backing up too far, all right? And there certainly is nothing to stop them guys that are up there from falling off of this concrete base here, hitting these wires or hoses or whatever they are, and just falling down and splatting on the concrete down here. Watch what happens when this guy hammers the tailgate open. Watch. If he hadn't, I'm going to say this. If he hadn't have moved out of the way when the tailgate on the left side swung open, it swings open pretty fast and pretty hard. And that's a rock truck, okay? Those tailgates ain't made out of American slices of cheese. That's heavy steel. That would have taken him out. But he moves. Watch, he gets out of the way long before the door opens. Watch. Also, if you would, keep in mind that you got guys standing down here somewhere, and you've got these rocks coming down and kind of just flying all over the place. Watch. Here he goes, hitting the tailgate. As that side opens, now watch the left side open. Had he been standing there, that would have hurt. So here we are. Tailgate's open. Guy's raising the dump bed on the truck. Here comes the rocks. The guy with the controller has moved out of the way. The vibrating machine is turned on, looks like, because these rocks are moving. Now the chute is full. The truck is not empty yet, so the truck can't move. They got to get some out of the chute before the truck can move. So here comes one of them. Signals that it's safe for the other ones to come. Excuse me. I guess if that's what you want to call safe. So the guy on the left has a control unit. Now, let me stop it. Notice what these guys are wearing on their feet, all right? Because this is not the best picture. But we'll talk about the guy in the back first. Notice that the guy is wearing open-toe sandals. He's got a pair of what I call flippers. No socks, no nothing, just bare feet and flippers, working at a rock quarry. I don't know if you noticed as that guy came across, but he had them too. You might want to notice that when he came across, he walked in front of about 25 tons of loose rocks. They could have come down pretty much any minute now. See, there's another guy in the back there. Let me stop this again. There's another guy in the back here, and if you look at his feet while he's walking around, he's wearing the same thing. He's got a pair of flippers on. No boots, no shoes, nothing. He's got bare feet inside a pair of flippers. No protection. None of them are wearing eye protection. None of them are wearing gloves. None of them have hearing protection. None of them have any sort of protective gear, period, whatsoever. The only safety equipment on the machine that I can see is this one guard right here in front of this flywheel on the far side. That's it. Now, I'm going to assume that is for two reasons. So the guys won't lean on the moving flywheel and get mowed down, and to keep the rocks from bouncing out of the tray and hitting the flywheel and messing up the machine. And I kind of get the impression from looking at this that they're probably a lot more worried about the machine than they are about the people working there. This is grotesquely sad that these guys have to work in these kind of conditions. Notice everything is basically the same color because it's all covered with rock dust and none of it ever gets cleaned. The maintenance on the machine is probably absolutely minimum. As a matter of fact, I'm going to point something out. There's a little cover on top of the machine right here. You see that? Now, I'm going to assume that some sort of lubricant goes in there because of where it is. The cover is missing a bolt, and there's a rag stuck over the hole. So, upkeep on the machines is absolute minimum. Notice where these guys are walking. There's rocks laying around. There's all kind of hoses and wires and do whatever. It's a piece of catwalk. All the metal's all banged up. You get the idea. Let's start it again. Now, why they don't have the vibrator turned on for the rocks to move, I don't know. Now, this guy right here, we're going to call him Rocky, okay? Rocky, like Rocky and Bullwinkle, Rocky is probably not the sharpest knife in the drawer because he's got a long ways to go up to get the chain off that rock. But he has a short way to go down to get the chain off the rock. But he's still trying to hammer the chain up. Then what he does is he decides, well, that's not going to work, so I'm going to start hitting the rock. Notice as he's swinging the hammer at the rock that a lot of times the hammer just bounces right off of it. It's rock. You're swinging at it with a steel hammer. Sometimes it'll blow shards. Every time these guys swing the hammer, they're taking really about a 50-50 shot of losing an eye because that rock breaks off in pieces like glass. It's like smashing a toilet with a hammer. Porcelain shards fly everywhere. Anyway, how they make it through a day, I don't have a clue. But let's watch. Start it up. They beating on that ain't gonna help. See that? You saw him turn his head? Wait a minute, I'm going to back this up just a little bit because I want to catch that. Watch him turn his head. He hits the rock and then he turns his head real quick. The shard's got him in the face. Watch. See that? Shard's got him in the face. It ain't gonna work, Rocky. It ain't gonna work. If they turn on the vibrator, this stuff will slide out from underneath. These rocks will have somewhere to fall. There we go. Now watch. Got an itch right here. Give it a minute, it'll start moving. They probably don't have a whole lot of training in how to do this because I'm sure guys don't last very long on these machines. If you take into consideration there's no shade, there's no water, there's no nothing, and you got to stand out there and swing a steel hammer, a sledgehammer at rocks all day in a very dangerous position. I mean, you're standing right in front of them. Notice all the signs that say, safety first. There's nothing anywhere. These poor bastards having to work in these conditions. All right, I stopped it right here. See, the truck is still there. Up here at the top, the truck is still there. The dump bed is still up. There's this gigantic rock right here. The chute is full, okay? The chute is full. So at some point, something's going to loosen up, and that rock is going to move. And there's nothing to stop that rock from coming down here, bouncing over these pipes, and knocking old Rocky in the skull here. It's incredible. Look at this guy up here on top of the roof. Now, what is his job? I don't know what his job is. But whatever it is, don't look as hard as Rocky's. Start it back up. Just wait a minute. It'll start sliding. See, you got the vibrator going, so the stuff is moving down the chute. Maybe it'll start moving here in a minute. This is a 36-minute video. I don't plan on using the whole video. I'm the kind of guy that can watch and enjoy 36 minutes of this because it's kind of like a cross between a comedy, what not to do video, and heavy machine video, you know. And Rocky, I'm not sure if I pry on the rock on the bottom. It's got the most weight on it. Give it a minute, the stuff underneath will move. That's the whole point of the vibrator being there. Look at that, told you. A rock crushing machine is a pretty incredible thing, really. It just takes those rocks and just doesn't even blink. It just smashes them down to nothing. I mean, I realize it's not granite, right? Now, let's stop it again. Oh, too late. I got to be more... There we go. You see these two guys right here? Keep an eye on those guys later on. I have no idea why they're there. This is Rocky's buddy. He's got the vibrator control in his hand. Them two guys are splitting duties. But I don't know what these two guys are doing here. What are they, spectators? Like the guy on the roof? Start it back up. I guess we'll call that guy Rocky 2. Number 2, not also. See that? The vibrator does its job. Bounce. 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 It ain't working there, Rocky. I don't know why they just didn't do that to start with. Now, what's to stop all that rock from sliding a little bit and taking him out? He's just standing in there. And if that rock were to move even a little bit of it, he's done. He'd probably pull him out of there, throw him on the ground, and get somebody else up in there with a hammer. It's sad. It's really sad that these guys, I mean, everybody's got to have a job, you know. Everybody's got to, they got families, they got to eat, they got to, and it's just sad that this is the conditions that they're given to work in. And they could, I guess, maybe they could organize and complain or say they're not going to do the job anymore without some sort of protective something. I'm going to stop it here for a second. You see this right here? Up here, this is a flat surface, right? This is a vertical surface. That machine is set down into the ground so that the machine can crush, has room to crush the rock, and it comes up a conveyor belt to come out. So this is a vertical concrete wall. There's nothing there to stop anybody from just walking right over the edge, just taking a wrong step, tripping over one of these wires. Nothing there. The company does not care, obviously. But for the grace of God, we don't all have to live like this. Like I was saying, they could organize and complain, but there's probably somebody standing right behind them that says, hey, I'll do it. All right, I'm going to say it again. I don't know why they're not running the machine and let the weight of these rocks force that stuff down the throat. I don't get it. You see the shards of rock. If you watch that close, you can see the shards of rock scatter when he hits them. Not every hit, but on a good portion of the hits, you can watch the rock shatter. Behind him, on a vertical ledge, not vertical, on a 45-degree angle, there's 10 tons of rocks being held back, I guess because there's a log jam by the chain. There's a truck at the top that still isn't completely unloaded, so it's got the top of the bed up, and it's got that big rock in the back just waiting to come out of there. I guess I just don't understand. Maybe that's what it is. I'll tell you one thing. This video shows two things very clear. One thing it shows is those boys ain't afraid to work. I mean, they ain't scared. they're out there doing a job, and they're doing a hard job. And it looks to me like they're doing the best they can with what they have to do it with. And you're going to see in a minute, I think it's in a minute here, it might be a little bit later in the video. See, they have two tools to work with. They have a sledgehammer and they got a steel rod. And that's it. That's their tools. They do have one more special tool that you'll see in a little bit. I'm not going to say what it is, but you'll know when you see it. I'm not sure if it's coming up right now or not. I've watched this 3 or 4 times. I had to run through a whole bunch of these videos over and over again to find some that were not so just flat out boring. And there we go with a spam call. Get rid of that. Like I said, I don't know why he doesn't run the machine. I gotta stop saying that. It gets boring to listen to. Alright, Dom, we get the point. Because he's been beating on that thing for a while. You know what he goes, oh, the two things. One thing is they ain't afraid to work. The other thing is, when those boys go home in the afternoon, they're tired. There's their special tool. Check out that special tool. That's an old belt off one of the machines, I'm sure. And see, they fuss with this thing and fuss with this thing and fuss with this thing. And I don't understand why they don't turn the vibrator back on and use the weight of those rocks to stop it from bouncing around like that so it'll break up. Try hitting it some more, Rocky. There it goes. It's a pretty tough machine. Now they turn it back on. Yeah, Rocky's hitting the chain up. At least this time, up is the easier way, the shorter way. Getting little itches everywhere. See, using the machine itself, the vibrator on the machine is loading the throat. Alright, got a little log jam going on. Remember those two guys I told you to remember to be watching them later on? You saw that thing shatter. Look at that. Look at the shards fly. Remember I told you to be watching? Watch. Watch what happens here. And I'm going to run it back and show it again. But watch what happens. See these guys standing back there? Watch. We're going to run that back. Keep an eye on these two guys right here. There we go. Rocky's going to get up in the machine where he can't wait for a rock to fall on him. You saw him duck for cover. One more time, just for good luck. Watch him duck for cover. Watch. Look at that. Rock flew off of his hammer all the way over to where they were, and they had to duck from it. Oh, the other Rocky's going to get in there with his special tool. And he's going to stand in the trough with all those big loose rocks. The chain is not tight. It ain't holding nothing back. Not very efficient. Another spam call. It's not a very efficient process here. They're not crushing very much rock very quickly. They got a lot of guys on site working. Of course, they're probably not paying them very much, but still. They got a lot of guys on site working. And you know, I would say you could probably feel fairly sure that there is no workers' comp, there is no overtime, there is no health plan, paid vacation, no safety net of any sort. It's work, get paid, don't work, don't get paid, don't like it, step aside, there's somebody right behind you. Stopped it right here. Dig that. Open toe shoes. Yeah, hanging on to that chain's going to help. You know, if that rock that just fell had come down a little different, he'd have been right there. Come down a little sooner, maybe, he'd have been right there. I guess I shouldn't take it so seriously, but I've worked in plants. But I've worked a lot throughout my life. And I see stuff like this. And it's just cruel, I think, to people. To put them in an environment like this to work. Bounce, bounce. Oh, that time it threw a shard. Another one. Big chunk. Again, to the guy's right, there's a whole chute on the machine, just full of rocks waiting to fall, and he's got his leg in there. Bounce, bounce. Bounce, bounce. Yeah, you know that hurts your hands. You hit something with a sledgehammer that's that hard, it doesn't break, and the shock of the blow is quite often absorbed in your hands. You know, you get that buzz in the handle. Now, see, they had trouble with it, so they turned on the vibrator and put some weight on top to force it down, and it worked. Stopped it right here. What is the job those two guys have? What do you reckon they're there for? Also, I don't know if you noticed, but Rocky 2 was signaling someone at the top of the chute, probably a truck driver waiting to empty. They're looking up there. And keep in mind the whole time, excuse me, keep in mind the whole time, just like me sitting here watching this, there's some guy there with a camera filming it on his phone. I'm sure it's not a camera, I'm sure it's his phone. Come on, Rocky. You ain't gonna pull that chain off that rock behind there, Rocco boy. Keep the machine running. The rock will work its way out. That's the way the machine is designed. See that? It's working its way out. So they stop it. Looked like it was going pretty well to me. Again, turn the machine on. The weight of the rocks coming down will force them out, but they'd rather climb in there and swing a hammer at it. Obviously, there's more than one person filming because it just showed another phone in the picture. I don't know why he's bothered to do that. All right. I think you get the gist of the video here, or this video, and that would be those poor guys getting stuck doing that for a living. Can you imagine being there 5 or 6 days a week, 8 hours a day? I have no idea how many injuries per day they have. I've seen a bunch of these videos. Who are we to leave each other in these situations? In a lot of these videos, you can see that the employees do what they can to try to take care of each other because they know they all need each other. I don't know what else to say about it. I really don't. It's just sad to me. It's just very sad. Very sad. Thank you so much for watching. I hope, I do appreciate you staying around this long. Thank you very much. There's actually another, 13 minutes of video, but I figured you probably had enough where we're at. So I do really appreciate everybody being here. I do really appreciate everybody watching. I love the comments that I get to have conversation with y'all. And the only way that I can do that is through the comments. So it works out real well. I really enjoy that. And everybody's always so nice, So anyway, Elmer, I think it's about time we let these folks get back to what they was doing. I don't know what to say about guys who have to work like that for a living, other than I'm glad I don't have to. Thank you very much for being here. We'll see you on the next one. Let's ride it home. Elmer.